Well, good morning, everybody. How are we today?
Tired. I think that's the
Very.
word of the day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Our brains are kind of exhausted. Everybody's kind of getting back into it. I've been seeing some of that into the chat and everything. But look, we have somebody that wasn't well, it was announced earlier, but wasn't advertised. Sheila, how are you?
Good morning. I'm tired too.
Well, welcome to Fabric Friday, Sheila. Now, Sheila, Kevin and I have known you for many, many years now, but some people on the stream might not know you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Sheila Hart. Live in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been using Power BI since 2016. I guess it came out in 2015, so I was late to the party. But yeah, just love all things in the Microsoft stack. From the business side of the house, and I've made my way over into IT. I'm currently a BI manager at a construction manufacturing company here in Dallas Fort Worth. So
Oh,
Wow.
that's
me.
fantastic.
Another good successful story about people from the business learning Power BI and everything, and then moving and changing their career because of it. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, when we were talking at the conference, you had some better insights from somebody from that, right? The business side, where Chris and I are a lot more technical and start from the technical side. So
Mhm.
we're looking
Mhm.
forward to hearing more about what you learned and liked about FabCon. But
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
great thing about the community, right? Because we all come at it from different contexts and perspectives, and we wind up complementing each other's skills a lot of times. So
yeah. Amen. And so we're about to get into this conversation, but as we do, I want to thank every one of you who's tuned in to watch and listen to us. We really do appreciate it. A few things. We're gonna get this one right. It's like we're professional YouTubers, like we've done this one before. We're here to have a conversation with you. So please, if you've got questions or you have something, please drop it in the chat. Please prefix the question with the Q colon, so we can make it easy for us to get together. Please don't repeat or spam things. I capture them. It's all good to go. Make sure you follow us on Kevin and I on LinkedIn and X. Our ideas are down there. And then, as always, I don't know. Apparently, I'm not a good YouTuber. I don't have a like or subscribe button, but
yeah, you
you can hit
do.
the like button. That really does. That does help me out quite a bit. YouTube does flag these things better, and honestly, I can't I can't express how much that does help YouTube stuff. You hear it all the time from people. If just when you start a YouTube video, just hit the like automatically, and then if you don't like it after that, just take it right off, right? Like you don't have to like downvote it, but you can just take away the like, So
here,
just
let me
start there. Just
I see 2 likes right now. So
there.
come on, team. Let's
I
get it
just put
going.
mine in.
okay. Thank
Can you
you.
vote for yourself?
Yeah. Um, all right. And I do want to hear where people are from. So I saw like a hello from Brazil. So please post in the chat where everybody's from. It's great. One of the big things that I learned from the Fabric Conference is it was so nice to meet so many of you. Stina,
Mhm.
we met for the first time ever in person. It was awesome to meet you and to like actually be able to put a face to a username. That was fantastic. So um, yeah, Mark, we learned from from your call last week. Yes, you can. Yeah,
No,
Wilson, you can vote first, but let's start positive. So you don't have to go negative right away. Uh, um, uh, but let's just start with Sheila. What was your, if we think about the keynote and all the announcements in there? It's been a week now, oh my gosh, it has not been a week. It feels like it's been a week or more.
Mhm.
Um, but from Monday, what was your biggest takeaway? What sticks with you the most from that time?
From Monday specifically? Oh,
Yeah, from the keynote.
from
oh
yeah, what
gosh.
got announced in the keynote and what has stuck with you?
You guys.
We didn't prep her properly.
I know. No. I mean, there was just so much. I think right away.
What do you think your favorite announcement is? What do you think you'll jump after first?
Well, for me, I was interested in things that were related to Dataverse.
Mhm.
So there's many
Interesting.
improvements coming on the Fabric link back to Dataverse.
Okay.
Going to improve how quickly data lands in the lakehouse. So there's right now it could take up to 60 minutes for changes in F&O or some of the Dataverse products
Yes.
to actually make its way over. So that's like immediate, like, oh my gosh, that's going to be an immediate improvement. So I know there's way more cool stuff.
No, that's a good one. Now, did
Yeah.
they also say that they were going to do some preview or private preview for mirroring from
Yes.
Dataverse, right?
Yes. And then so mirroring of Dataverse, but it actually under the hood is an improvement to the existing link. They're calling it Fast Fabric Link. It's mirroring, but it's actually an improvement to that Fast Fabric Link. So,
Oh, okay. I thought it was
but
a shortcut, so I wasn't
yeah,
sure
and
which
you'll
way
be
they were
able to
doing it.
access it directly from Fabric. Like right now, you have to go to the Maker portal, the Power Platform Maker portal. So you'll actually be able to set it all up from Fabric, which will be nice. And choose your tables. Right now, all the tables, have to come in. And in F&O, if anyone works with F&O, there's thousands of tables. A lot of them aren't anything you would need for analytics. So yeah,
That's a performance improvement right
yeah,
there. Don't bring in what you don't need. Oh, let's bring in everything.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it may not be the coolest thing to you guys, but for me, that's like immediate life improvement. So
That's great.
and that's all I remember.
All right. Well, thanks for joining. We'll see you later.
Super productive conversation. We just knocked it out in 8 minutes. All super good. Well done, everybody. Kevin, how about you?
Some of the things that I'm most interested in, and I'm trying to remember if this got announced on the very first day or not, but more CI/CD readiness, more things that will get us to be able to deploy correctly, variable libraries, the command line interface, all of those type of things is what I focused on throughout the week. And sorry, I got these new headphones and they're not working too well yet. So so it was great. It was really good to hear. There's actually a checklist for items to be CI/CD GA, and the support for everything. Got to get ready for service principals and have REST APIs. Bless you. And just having everything so it can be deployed forward. I wish they would have started with that, but I hear I get it. Get things out there, get things moving. I think that's going to make the quality of life for a lot of people that move things around a whole lot better. So, yeah, chug that energy drink. I got the coffee going. So I got the coffee voice this morning. We're all just a little bit slow. So stick with us,
I'm going to admit, I totally overslept. Normally I like to have a cup of coffee in the morning, and I just barely logged into the stream before Sheila and Kevin did, and I was like, okay, energy drink it is. Here we go.
I woke up at like 4:30. I felt fine. I said, I'm just going to lay here for another minute. Fell back asleep and felt horrible. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm going to say the biggest thing after, my initial reaction on the day of, and I've done like 15 live streams since the announcement. The item that I talked about, I thought that was game changing, and I'll do a video on this in a bit, but was the whole Copilot being available to less than F64.
Yeah.
But as I reflect back upon the messaging, and as I look through my notes and I look at the things that are out there, I think the biggest thing that was honestly announced inside of FabCon is that Microsoft is number one in all four quadrants of Gartner when it comes, or is one of the leaders in all four quadrants of how Gartner rates data platforms, right? And that's really big. There's no other platform out there that has all of that. So if a company's not doing Fabric, that means they're having to cobble together and integrate 2, 3, or 4 different tools together to make that work. For an 18-month-old platform, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I was blown away by that when I first saw it and saw it in Arun's keynote and everything. And that, yeah, he put all four up there side by side. So I'm sure you'll kind of use that image when you do your presentation and to show, you know, how strong they were in each one was great.
Yeah, you knew you were using the right product when you saw when you saw that slide. It's like, you know, it doesn't make any sense to use something different. You know, it seems so.
Yeah, I was talking to someone who's manages a data estate at a very large enterprise, and she was saying she has 40 or more platforms that she has to manage to bring data in and to consolidate it and do all of these different things. And she's constantly having to worry about security across these four different types of 40 different types of technology, access to those, manage the consumption on them. And she said when she showed up on Sunday before FabCon started, she was very skeptical of Fabric and how this was going to work. And she said by Tuesday, she saw no other path forward but Fabric, which is a crazy change, sea change, especially for someone who's managing that much data across that many sources in that many environments. I mean, they truly understand like the complexity of the environments that they're dealing with and the complexity of the solutions, and they see Fabric as the path to radically simplify how their organizations access and consume information. And that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, definitely. So another thing. So I'm going to jump just to this one because we've been talking about it in the chat here for a little bit, but I'm going to kind of talk about it as Microsoft's confusing names again.
Yes.
So, you know, they talked about UDFs, but what are UDFs? So they exist in two different places. The one you're showing, user data functions, is in the platform, right? So you could sit there and put a data function together, call it from a pipeline, call it from a notebook, and it could help you with your transformation. So you could put common functions together in one place and have it run up on the service, serverless compute. That's great. Do you have the other UDFs by chance?
There's another UDF.
There's another UDF,
User
user-defined
defined.
functions, which is in DAX. So they
What?
introduced, yeah. So DAX now is going to allow.
Wait a minute. Wait.
He's right.
There's two of them?
There's two UDFs.
Oh, come on, man.
One is
zero UDFs, now all the UDFs?
all the UDF everything, right? So yeah, one is data, one is defined.
Oh my gosh.
To make sure we know which one we're talking about. So that's what, because Christina put it in there, and so I was going, well, which one, right? Are we data or DAX side? You know, yeah, it's it's kind of ridiculous. And Jay said they were the first ones to name UDFs, but then that's what they changed the data functions and put that out. So, but user-defined functions in DAX will, once you start using them, I think will greatly change how you write DAX. Common things you could put into this UDF. Yeah, Wilson Man coming up with his own UDAF and UDEF. User for data functions and defined and
so let me show you what Copilot says about that.
Okay.
They're not available.
Well, of course not. Copilot can't keep up.
Like, okay, let's go find this thing. Oh no, that's not a thing.
Yeah. So I see we have a question that came in.
But hold on one second here. It is available inside of SQL BI's summary here. So we're gonna put this out in the chat. Make sure that you guys have access to this. But
Marco was part of the session with Jay doing the announcement, so he showed some really good examples on it. I could think of ways that I could use it today because we have a common set of code that we use to check if the store had less than $300 of sales that day, we assume they were closed, like they were open for a bit and had a power failure or something, right? So then, we could encapsulate that into a user-defined function to always do it the same way when we do it on the DAX side. So I see a very good possibility for this. SVGs, as Andrew just mentioned, I think, it's going to open up a whole bunch of templates for that. So it's going to be really cool. Another thing that they announced in this session, and it came out to just get a couple people in some of our channels, but I couldn't find anything to show, is since they did do this on Tuesday, which happened to be April 1st, their first announcement was DAX now supports VBA. And they had a little example up there and everything.
So to be clear, DAX does not support VBA.
Does not support.
This channel does not support VBA, either politically speaking or professionally speaking or technically speaking. Let's not do that. Right?
They fooled a lot of people for a little while that day.
And then they did have to recoup or restate at the end of the presentation. That was not true. Everything else was. So.
April Fools.
Yeah.
Well, and along the semantic model announcements, the ability to combine import tables in import mode with direct lake tables in one model. That was
this is
big.
the big one I want to get to. So Sheila, do you want to just kind of mention that or talk about what that means?
Well, we've again with Dataverse, we jumped right onto the direct lake bandwagon. So we have quite a few direct lake models already in production, but just some of the use case scenarios for specific departments to be able to start to create composite models. I think it's just going to open things up. Just to be more flexible, I guess, and deliver more tailored solutions to the different areas of our company. So, that sounds pretty exciting. And folks are familiar with import, so this is a big thing, I think.
Well, and I'll also say that goes along with the ability to create direct link models in desktop. Right?
Oh,
So you used to be shackled to the web UI modeling experience, which, I mean, if you're a Mac user, it's better than nothing. So hey, yay, better than nothing. But for everyone else, it's more than just a little bit of a struggle or a limitation, just because it's not performant. It's got all sorts of issues and challenges. It just doesn't do the exact same thing, right? So,
I was just going to add. Sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to talk.
You're fine.
But with that import table, you can do hierarchies, which you can't do right now with your direct lake tables. So that's one of the key benefits. If you've got a product table, you can set up your hierarchies and just import that piece, or even your date table. Excuse me. But that was one of the key benefits I wrote down, as far as having that ability to import plus direct lake.
Well, and what I would also like to see is, does this provide us the ability to start to do that composite modeling capability like we had, where we have like highly granular data that is a direct query or direct lake, and then aggregates that sit on top of it, that where we could partition out those aggregated tables to be both in memory as well as direct query, right? So you do in memory for everything but today, and so you cache that every single morning, and then you allow for direct query for the today part of the partition. So you just have these aggregates that you're managing, that's in memory, so it's highly performant, and then you only fall back to direct lake, and that potential impact on performance when you're going into detailed information. That's something I'm very excited to see. And have you ever, Sheila or Kevin, have you ever worked with those patterns before?
I know what you're talking about, but they did not touch on that part at all. So I don't know if that's going to be part of it. Marco was saying that, the common use case would be your dimensions come in, and like Sheila was saying, then there's more you could do with those dimensions, right? And so they live in the import mode, and you keep your fact table that has a lot more rows inside, on the direct lake.
Sure.
Since we're here, Anthony did mention he thought direct lake only supported one data source. Did that change this week? Yes, that changed this week. I don't know if the bits have been published out in every region, but you can now use multiple sources for a direct lake model. So the way we were always getting around that before is you would set up like a lake house and then do shortcuts to multiple sources, and then your direct lake model would be off of that lake house with shortcuts. This now gets rid of that, so you could select multiple sources even if they're all in direct lake mode. And that's what introduces the import mode, which you notice Marco was calling composite model, right? He's calling it another form of a composite model now.
And Zoe had just a notebook that did all those setting up the model, all the routine things, as far as like marking your date table and your sort columns and defining the measures. And I'm like, I want to get my hands on that notebook. It was like, I'm like, I need that. But yeah.
So note that there is now, and Anthony is calling this out, there's now two flavors of direct lake. One which is a SQL endpoint. This is the legacy. This one is going to be going away.
I don't know about that.
Well, and the next few
sentences,
about the fallback, that's huge.
Yeah.
So,
because of the fallback, I'm not 100% sure it will really go away.
You want to bet a $5 on it?
I don't know about that, but they're going to have to get to a point that they're going to have to support the bigger data, or the reasons that you're falling back. They don't have to support views. The materialized views will get rid of that part, right?
Yep.
But that that materialized views is just off of the lakehouse side,
right?
If you're using data warehouse, you just simply take a view and stand it up as a table, anyways. But
so hang on, and so here's what happens. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. God bless it. Give me my computer back. All right. Oh no, here we go. We're going down to zoom in mode here, so we can actually. All right. So the reason why I think this is going to go away is today, when you do one lake connection using the SQL endpoint, there's actually a virtualization layer, which is the SQL endpoint, where all of your queries have to pass through that to then go back down to the one link, right?
Mm-hmm.
That virtualization layer, I didn't realize that was there because they tried to like hide that. But when you go to troubleshoot all sorts of challenges with the direct link mode, that thing just keeps getting in the way. I mean, there are some things that we were, oh, now you can do views, now you can do these other things. I mean, honestly, the views on one link is a fail. You should not be doing that.
Yeah.
Like people thought you could do that. It's just going to give you like worse and worse performance. That's why we need the materialized views, right? I mean, same thing in direct query. You need to be not running against views. You have to be running against tables where there's no type of recalculation on the back end side to bring the data to forward, because it has to be performant. So to me, it makes a great deal of sense architecturally, design pattern wise, efficiency wise, for us to go directly from the semantic model down to the one lake, eliminating that SQL portion there. So
I think the biggest question is, what are the other limitations that do direct query fallback? And I think there's a number of rows, and they're going to have to solve that number of rows problem before it goes away. And do they really want to solve that? Right. So
I wrote down in my notes, though, that direct lake on one lake, there won't be any fallback.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. The one going, the direct lake on one lake, there's no fallback.
Right. Okay.
Direct lake on SQL Analytics endpoint, there is
I see what you're
fallback.
saying. I see what
Right.
you're saying. Okay.
And so if there's any limitations that stop people that go, look, even if I have long performance, I still get an answer, they're going to have to solve that on the one lake side before they could get rid of the SQL Analytics side. That's right. And especially when they're out there already, and now they're even saying, here's the limitations, and you make a choice. You made a choice to consciously say, I'm going on the SQL Analytics point because I want fallback. They can't just come back and say, now we're going to take SQL Analytics away, and you have to go to one lake side without getting the backlash of going, wait, then what about my fallback feature? So
yeah, that's spot on. Now, Cody was asking about the can you give a rundown of the calendars in DAX? Now, Sheila, Kevin, do you see anything on this?
I'll see if Sheila could start with it. Go ahead.
Well, basically, the way I understood is you can create any calendar you want. You can choose any day you want to start your calendar, and you can choose any kind of pattern, whether it's 445 or 454 or 32 or whatever.
Yeah.
They were like just throwing craziness out. There was some international calendar that sounded pretty crazy, and
Right.
so you have to define a few items to set it up, but yeah, it sounds like the sky's the limit. You're going to be able just to run any kind of crazy calendar you want, and it'll work.
And it can be as simple as this, right?
But it is, right? Because now what it really is involving is allowing you to use the standard DAX functions that exist, like what you're pointing to, with a custom calendar.
Yep.
So before, when we were running like I run a 445 calendar at one place, to do that, I have all this specialized DAX code to do my time intelligence measures. And, I can't just use those functions except for what I'm trying to do on my normal, calendar. But my 445, or if I was running a fiscal somewhere else, I've always had to write special DAX logic between that. Now what this is doing is you could use those functions and you just pass in the calendar mapping that you have. So you define, it's off a one date table, and you still have all these columns for it. And then you define multiple calendars within that date table and say, these columns mean these things. And then the just when you pass over the calendar name, those functions just know how to work with it and will do everything correctly. So
did they say anything about holidays?
They didn't mention holidays specifically. So I still think you kind of got to build in your own holidays and still kind of do some DAX around that. But we'll have to dig into that one a little bit more. I don't remember it during the session. Do you, Sheila?
I don't. I remember someone asking about like starting on a Black Friday or something like that. But
Yeah, well, it wasn't. I don't think it was starting on the. I think it was if they wanted to define a calendar that had kind of event periods
yeah,
and stuff in
yeah,
there. And Jay was saying, yes, if you could figure out how to put those event periods together, and you want to have kind of like a marketing calendar,
right, yeah,
and you wanted to define these unique periods that were like Easter, Black Friday, Boxing Day, whatever, all the big shopping things. So you could do a compare each year, even though it moves.
hmm
You could put that type of calendar together.
yeah.
So
Didn't they talk about like a week functions coming into? Do you remember that? To DAX?
they kind of mentioned like day part functions, right?
Okay.
To say, and I think they were looking at maybe a different time, like a table that wasn't a date table. It was like an hour or a time table type of thing, and then
Uh-huh.
functions against that to do that. That was
Yeah.
like a sneak peek, at least I hope it was. So I believe that's some of the stuff that he said there. I remember him mentioning that. It was, I'm trying to think on if there was anything else. There was a lot around those tables though. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a special guest who's going to pop in.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Wow.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Oh,
great.
best day ever.
Party time.
I know. I was like, yeah, very excited. I'm sure we're all like 3 coffees deep at this point. So it's good.
So welcome, Christina. We were just talking about DAX calendars. Have you heard anything? Have you looked at this? What's your take on that?
I am super excited. I don't know about you guys, but I have made my own date calendars many times in Power Query and in SQL. And the ability to now assign these fields, like I can choose which column is my year column. You can also do working days. I think that's how you could work around the holidays, Mark. So I think if you assigned a working day calendar and you just excluded those holidays from your working days, now network days is going to work natively with that. So it's just kind of grown our options for custom calendars, truly. So
I'm going to say my use case when it comes to custom calendars is it makes it much easier to do ad hoc based reporting with those custom calendars. So if you're trying to spin something up and do something quickly in a POC or proof of concept, or you just need a new date table, that'll just make it much easier.
Yeah, that's good.
I think the con here is I want all of those types of transformations and definitions created at my silver layer. So I have common logic and common data to be able to help with any types of definitions I need to create as far as the transformations that go into building out my gold layer. So it's the type of functionality I consider for like the SMB space or the individual practitioner space. I don't consider this for an enterprise type solution.
I do think the nice thing though is it now enables even within your gold layer, right? You're going to have people wanting to do like week over week calculations. They don't have to write their own DAX for that anymore. It's going to work with the base functions. You just pass in the calendar that it needs to use. So that's pretty nice.
And I'll say I'm very hopeful that this is going to lead to a better role-playing dimension experience for dates.
Yes.
Because today there's some just major gaps inside of the tabular modeling solution when you have many role-playing dimensions on a date, right? Like if we think of AdventureWorks, we think sold date, ship date, or order date, ship date, build date.
Sheila's got it all memorized.
There's order date,
and
ship date. delivered or
Delivery date, I think, is
Mhm,
what they call it there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Well, no,
invoice
there's ship
date?
date and delivery date, so they track both, right?
Okay.
But whatever. There's 4 dates there. You throw in some complexities between multiple fact tables where they don't necessarily have those same dates,
mhm.
and you start to get into a factorial question of how many joins and use relationships you need to have in order to like be able to capture uh the different dates in the relationships. I mean, I have one model where if I was truly going to try to role play that, I would need 168,000 different joins
Mhm.
inside my model with a singular date dimension,
The
which
answer
isn't
should have been 42.
right. It would have been nice, right? But if we had a better, like on-demand date dimension experience where we could like define multiple date dimensions within a visual or within a page, define how we want those relationships to work there. Now, all of a sudden, we have the ability to filter by multiple dates. We have the ability to display by multiple dates, right? So I'm hopeful that it's leading in that direction.
Well, you would almost go back to what MDX did, right? Is
I don't know what MDX did.
so what MDX did is when you would define that type of cube, is you would have one date within your model, right, and all the relationships to it. But in the user experience, what it showed is each one of those relationships showed as a new date table. But behind the
Oh.
scenes,
Yeah.
that date table was kept in memory as one object, right?
Yeah.
To where the issue with tabular editor is if you put those 40 dates, right? I mean, you still have this display issue, right, of which date to choose, but you're naming them because each role you're naming them correctly. But now if we want to do that, we actually have to add that to the model, and then in import mode, that's more data to import. If it would just have it as one table behind the scenes and know how to use it, even though it displayed it, that would be better, right? It would be another option. And the people migrating from MDX would have a similar experience. So, so we have a ton of questions out there. I don't know if we want to try to get to some of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
Chris,
we
if
should.
you're capturing some of them.
I captured some of them, but not everybody follows the whole queue pattern. So that would be useful.
No, I'm
for
talking
me.
ones with the Q pattern, right?
Yes, we'll start with that. Dia is asking, is Fabric available in GovCloud now? Which is the $10 billion question. I mean, literally,
But,
probably $10 billion easy
yeah.
if in Fabric Compute Microsoft could get if they could get this up and running.
So also, Dia, I think you said you were in the DFW area. So Sheila and I are in the DFW area also, by the way. So connect with us. But go ahead, give the answer now that I cut you off, Chris.
Do you want to give it, Kevin?
The answer that I know is no. It is not available in the government cloud. It's still that issue. They did not do any announcement to say it is there. So
My understanding is GCC will be by end of the year.
okay.
GCC High is supposed to be by the end of next year, but we'll see.
Yeah, the P in Fabric is for patience.
That is exactly right. Right.
Well, we have Christina's here too, but one of the big things at Fabric, I mean, there were multiple sessions on real-time intelligence, and so that you can speak to that. You did a session.
Yeah, what was your? Can you give in 5 minutes or less? Can you give us your session?
Yeah, I've got an elevator pitch. I think it's like maybe 10 seconds, So quick version was basically we pulled in some space station data real time through logic apps, pulled it into event streams, event house, and displayed it over Power BI, and you can see the space station going over the Earth.
Very cool.
So it was very fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there were I think 6 sessions on real time intelligence that I counted. So it's definitely a big push. And I think they're trying to make everything run faster, especially with that direct link mode that you guys talked about earlier this morning. I think all of that is coming down the pipe. They're all just trying to make sure that real time is easy. And right now it's still a little clunky. So we'll see.
And then combining it with the AI and
Right.
there was a new name. It was a not virtual agent, but it was a new
Agent.
yeah.
Yeah.
So having AI kind of based on what's coming in real time, then take the recommended action, almost like an advanced version of Power Automate.
Power
So,
Automate. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited to see how that plays out. That was definitely one of the big things in the keynote as well. I'm interested to see how it fits something that Power Automate doesn't solve for us. That's always my question is,
Yeah.
I have this other thing that does kind of that. Why is yours better? So I'm excited to hear what they come up with for that.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the agent that tries to figure out like how to fill out a form?
Yes.
Right. That was that demo in the keynote. Yeah, I can't remember what they called that agent.
Is it just called agents?
Well, they're all called agents, but then they give them very specific type of roles, and it was
agentic flows or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
I remember
agentic's the big new keyword that everyone's got to have a solution for. So
and I remember one of the sessions they said it's not one agent to rule them all. So you have all these little agents that do very specific tasks and are specialized based on the context of the data. So
yeah. Hey, we had one question that came in here. Any further announcements or update on the native write back in Power BI? So I was expecting stuff and I didn't see anything.
That was brought up in the session, in one of the sessions that I attended.
Miguel.
Yeah. And so that's where, again, the user-defined functions come in, right? Or not the user-defined, user data functions. I already messed up. So what you're going to bind to is you'll have a button, and one of the actions that you could do is call the UDF. And so then you define for that button the parameters the UDF expects, and you map two different things from your report. And so the example that they showed is he had like a matrix and a bunch of lines showing, and you selected one of the lines on that matrix. And then in a one of the slicers I think it was one of the new slicers, right? And you could type in, say, like a numeric value to say you're given a 20% discount, and then click the button that calls the UDF. Or I have to scroll back to see how somebody else renamed them. and then that would actually, in that UDF, you have access to bind to whatever data source. More than likely, you should probably bind to a Fabric SQL database that supports the transactions and can handle the small type of stuff. And then it just writes to that data source.
Yeah.
So I'll say a lot of this stuff you can access and leverage right now with Power Table by Lumel. It's an add-on. It's a capability. I'm not saying that you like this new translyrical stuff. Translyrical?
Transanalytical. Thanks
for a 45 syllable new word that we get to learn there at Microsoft. That's a fun one.
Well, the other one I heard was nerd leopardy. A combination of celebrity and nerd.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm just glad they didn't reuse a word.
Yes. But seriously, take a look at what Lumel is doing. They've got some really powerful solutions out there, and it does a lot of these capabilities today without you having to engineer and worry about all this crap on the back end. So especially if you're working in a shop where you don't have a ton of engineers, if it's you and like 2 developers or something like that, for whatever the little tiny fee Lumel charges, you can. This is a game changer for a lot of companies, so do check that out.
Cool.
But Alex is saying it sounds like translyrical, translytical.
So it's going to be the one that sings it.
Yeah, that one.
New with Fabric, your data sings.
It's a new co-pilot. It sings your data to people. So yes, it looks like it's still coming. That's the type of thing that's going to take a while to like sort out and get up and running. And yeah, he's saying by build. That sounds like a reasonable timeline. We'll see what we can do there.
Because that comment comes from Alex and I talking in the chat about where he says translytical or translyrical just rolls off the tongue. And I was going, yeah, and the keyboard. Jokingly saying, yeah, he's going to type Transylvania and talk about vampires instead. Yeah.
So Mim has joined us, and he's just saying, just tell me why UDF is the best new thing in Fabric. And to that,
wait, we got to ask him the question though. Which one? He knows because I put that on his tweet the other day too. But I know he's talking user data functions. Chris, you okay there?
He went to Transylvania.
Yeah. He transitioned.
I got buttons here that do things that I forgot about. If I suddenly disappear, like I'll be back.
As long as we're here and we know, like, are we broadcasting? Are we not? Let's keep.
Yes, yeah. No, we're up. We're up. We're that didn't kill it.
Yeah, that Python meme is it's. I think that is going to be a game changer. That the UDFs for data functions.
What is going on with Chris?
We're all just sitting there watching Chris's screen change every half a second.
So I got all sorts of like automation and stuff, and when you kick one off, like it goes no matter what. Transylvania is amazing. All right, and then Mark did. I would just want to make sure we hit these questions. Mark did ask, how did the game show go? We did play Do You Know Fabric at FabCon. We had 12 game sessions. We got 12 episodes filmed. So those are en route to the editor. So those are going to be edited and be going up onto the channel in the weeks to come. So do please tune in on that. But we did have Yonya was actually on it. She won the $100 and apparently she spent the money already. So congratulations. Look for her winning victory. I'll say I was a little shocked. We had, I think, 2 or 3 people who played who, like, the gimme a question wasn't as much of a gimme a question as I thought. So I feel a little bad for that, but that's the fun in these sessions is you sometimes you get it wrong, right? But everybody walked away with winner. Even the people who didn't get the questions right got a Fabric and Power BI button to
nice.
take home with them. Yeah.
Christina won Fabric shoes.
I did.
Shut up.
But I didn't do anything to do it. I just moved seats at the power hour, and then underneath my new chair was Fabric shoes.
The golden ticket.
Well, it sounds like you did something. It was very minimal, but you did something.
Yeah,
it was funny. Adam made fun of me because everyone was looking under their chairs, and I accidentally grabbed the sticker under the chair first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Exactly. All those chairs, the stickers are just like, people are yanking them off, thinking that was the golden ticket.
He's like, Christina, don't grab the sticker. Grab it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Joe, you did get a button.
No regrets.
Yeah,
no regrets.
And so I'll just ask everyone here. I want to give everyone in the comments a chance to put this in. Do you think Fabric is a IaaS, infrastructure as a service solution, a platform as a software? Yeah, platform as a solution. So PaaS, software as a solution, SaaS, or hardware as a solution, HaaS. Right? Leave that in the comments. We gotta give people. So those of you on the stream, we gotta give them like 45 seconds to like start to respond. But let us know what you think it is in the comments. Microsoft has a very strong branding around and marketing around one of those, but it's not necessarily as clear or obvious. And there was a big debate over that. So, it's as a service, just any of the as a services.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think it was correcting. You were saying as a solution.
Oh,
so
as a service. Sorry,
as a
sorry.
service. So
Yeah.
IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, or hardware.
Yeah. All right, we're seeing SaaS, trans, PaaS. There we go. Sassy, yes. PaaS,
All
yes.
of the above.
Exactly, Chewy.
Yeah. In all of the labeling, it's a SaaS solution, right? Yes.
Well, I like the phrasing there. It should be SaaS.
Yeah.
But no, it is all SaaS, right? But yeah, like if it feels like PaaS, then they failed. But it's definitely SaaS.
I think the where it feels more platformy is the insistence on like the CI/CD components that go in order to manage it. Right? Like, oh, I demand that I can terraform the creation of these objects versus I just go in and create what I need when I want it. Right? But yeah, SaaS for the win, Josh.
Maybe SaaS with PaaS capabilities.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But it's a multiple choice question on a game show run by a YouTuber, so we can only get so complex.
A professional YouTuber.
That's right. That's right. I do see a dollar amount go into my checking account every month.
There you go.
It is not significant.
Take you all year to recoup that $1,000.
It sure will. Well, not all year, but it'll take a bit. But that's okay. I really do this for fun. My wife said, just don't go gambling. You're going to spend $1,000 at the craps table. Just go spend $1,000 playing, having this fun game. So
there you go.
This was much more fun than the craps table. So that was great.
Well, that kind of like along those lines, I think the best part of going to Fabric though is just the community and just seeing everybody and that virtually or we just that you've networked with. I mean, people from all over the world, and then just meeting new people and just building those connections. Everybody that I know knew somebody that I now know that so the network just it was just great, and that's probably why I can't remember half the stuff I heard in the sessions because I was having a lot of fun just interacting with the community. So
well, that's great.
Personally.
So with Josh Kaplan in the channel, want a quick hit on how much of a fan I am of the new One Lake security. I think that's a huge game changer. If you're not familiar with the updates that have been announced, do go and take a look at them. A lot of it's still in private preview. There's a lot of stuff that's still coming along with this, but like this, the reason it's critical for us to know about that right now is that's where everything is going to be in the future. And that's where we get truly powerful, like AI agents and AI capabilities that are all running in a secure and governed managed fashion. And I mean, we can start taking the appropriate steps forward today so that, as those features start to light up and become the reality, we can really start to take advantage of them. Right? Does that make sense? Sheila, Christina, Kevin? Yeah.
My takeaway was that there'll be basically one central place for that security and versus all these different places to make sure you've got it set right, So I'm like, oh, sounds easier to me.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's the message, right? Make it easier. and make it secure,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Rather than having
Mhm.
to duplicate security in a couple different places. And then, like Chris said, is now if your AI agents are talking to something else, it's still secured. You don't have to
Mhm.
worry about getting it set up again.
Right.
So
Right.
I know we're starting to wrap down on time. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, and I think I don't know if both of you guys were in here as well, but there was the first report visualization challenge, right?
Oh
So where they
yeah.
had that competition
Mhm.
Yeah.
and picked a weekly winner, and so they did this live. Um, that was pretty interesting to watch how the contestants did it live, their styles for putting together a report. They kept switching around to the different screens and everything. Do you all remember who the winner was?
Jonathan?
Jonathan, I think, was right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I,
go out there and take a look at that. Was he the one he used?
a
He
speed timer?
practiced. Yeah, he had a
Mhm.
timer. So, a lot of what they were given the data set ahead of time, they were able to write a lot of their DAX, kind of plan out everything that they were going to do because this was a
Mm.
visualization challenge, right? So then they brought up their data model, started with blank pages, but they had their images already set. This, that, one of them had for what they wanted as titles. They put a DAX measure in with just all the words, just so they could click on that, copy the words, and put it into the title. Just things to speed themselves up. But he had Adam said it was a thing that a lot of gamers use to do their timing for runs
Just-
and know where they want to be at a certain time, and it would tell him whether he was ahead or behind. And so it was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
Wow.
If he doesn't have a Twitch channel for Power BI visualization designing, he should.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool.
They were all great though. I don't know how the judges even, I mean, it was just amazing what they could do in 20 minutes. Granted, they had some pre-prep time, but to see the model and everything, but just amazing talent.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone happens to know his first and last name, I just know his first name was Jonathan. I'm trying to find it, but I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it was at lunch too, so it wasn't like for me, it wasn't a note-taking time. So
Exactly
I was
right.
trying to
You're
stay
eating, but it
up.
was a packed room. I
Yeah, it
mean, when
Yeah.
was,
I got
yes.
there late, I barely got a seat, but I was lucky to find one up front, and
Yeah.
it was very interesting.
Yeah. Um, so I could tell you so this channel's on Twitch. There is no Power BI Twitch streamers. We get no viewers. Nobody's interested in watching a
But if
Power
you had a
BI content
speed
on Twitch
runner,
so far.
if you had a speed runner, Chris, wouldn't that be fun?
There you go. Yeah, and oh, God bless it.
All right, we'll see you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Samu.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Holy cow! All right, stop that. It's going to happen again because it's all timed what I just clicked on. But yeah, and I guess you have a speed run. Maybe that's better. But I have tried the Twitch thing. It's so far I haven't cracked that nut.
I will say too, just real quick, one of your pre tips that you talked about last week before FabCon was to utilize the ask the experts. And there he goes again. One of my manager, actually, we've been hitting some intermittent issues, and he was able to talk to an engineer, and so we've got it paid off. I mean, we've got somebody looking at our case, so that's
that's great.
yeah. So that's awesome. So definitely, if you ever go to FabCon, be prepared with some questions because the resources are there to help you.
Yeah, and it's I mean, literally all the experts are there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but we are at time. I want to be respectful of people who are been joining us, and everybody's got to get to their meetings and whatnot for the day. Sheila, parting words. What's your biggest takeaway from FabCon, and what would you like to say to the audience as we go out?
Again, I'm just going to stick with the community and the relationships. And if you have the chance to go to FabCon, go. And if your boss tells you no, just keep nagging and get there.
Take them with you.
Yeah, take them with you.
That's fantastic. Great advice. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Christina, Kevin, as always. It's great to see you guys here. If you want to be on Fabric Fridays, drop us a line. We're happy to add more people from the community. Love to bring everybody together here. Stay tuned. In about an hour, I believe, Fabric Fridays Tech Talk, or was it Fabric Fridays Tech Recap? Or
yeah, it's F2T2 or something like that. So Fabric Friday Tech Talk, I think.
yeah, Fabric Friday Tech Talk, or Fabric Tech Talk Friday.
Fabric Tech Talk Friday, I think is what it is.
So that's the next episode in Fabric Fridays. Is Microsoft has a Tech Talk. It's the next show in the lineup. It'll be on in an hour or so. So we'll see everybody there. You guys all have the best day ever. Peace.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.
Combine strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.